if you are one of the 300 million and you know behind you, we've got 4 billion buyers to come.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you sell it? You can't live with this endless FOMO. Is this the one? Is this the one? Is this the new Ethereum? Is this the new Solana? I mean, you'll drive yourself nuts.
Let's talk about Ethereum for a minute, because there's some changes afoot with Ethereum, and there's a real sentiment of confidence around Ethereum and what's coming over the course of the next few months. And when we saw a slight recovery just a few weeks ago, we saw Ethereum accelerate much quicker than Bitcoin through that short space of time. It's settled down now. What's going on with Ethereum?
So Ethereum is transitioning to what's known as proof of work, where you get a bunch of miners, which is computers that crunch really complicated maths, use massive amount of energy to prove a cryptographic puzzle, and they get paid. What they're doing is validating the network, and that's how Bitcoin works. And it's very safe, Bitcoin, because of it. But Ethereum is moving to proof of stake, which is different. So therefore, you stake your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, to the network to secure the network. So that means if you're a validator, you have 32 ETH or more, and you get to validate the network, and you get paid a yield for it. So the network pays you out of the network fees. And it's a different way of approaching the validation of all of the on-chain activity. Ethereum's no small thing. I mean, it is a gigantic kind of world Web3 computer. So the complexity of doing this transition is one of the biggest feats of engineering, programming development engineering, the world has ever seen. It's gigantic. But September the 19th looks like it's going to happen. Now, will it be 100% ironed out? I think so, but maybe not. Maybe there's some risk. But what happens within this dynamic is, where does that yield come from? And we don't know what the yield is going to be, but it's going to be somewhere. It's going to settle down somewhere between 4 and 6%. Where does that come from? That comes from network activity. And what it does is takes fees from the network and pays it out to the people. But Ethereum also has something called EIP 1559, which takes some of those fees and buys Ethereum tokens and burns them. They get delivered to a wallet that essentially destroys them. So what you've got is a kind of buyback situation where tokens are being burnt and distributed. So this becomes really interesting. Also, there's currently about 9% of everybody staking their ETH right now, even though ETH staking is not a thing, but there's test nets and stuff where you can do this. The guesstimates are that maybe up to 30% of all ETH will be staked, because that's similar to some other chains. So that when you stake your ETH, it can't be reused for anything. It's not in the market. It can't be sold. It's locked up for a year. It can't be put into DeFi. It can't be put into centralized finance. Nobody can borrow against it, lend against it. It's done. There's less supply. Yeah. Because this whole burning yield stake means that every day there's going to be less ETH than there was the previous day. It's deflationary. So you've got a demand shock. Well, you've got these massive supply shocks. Then you've got a demand shock, which is, well, hell, I want to own ETH because I want to get a yield on it as well. So people are going to come into the market. Then the institutions, let's say Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, well, they're going to be pretty interested if they're making one allocation, which is, we believe in crypto. Before it was kind of, well, we're going to buy Bitcoin. But now it's like, why buy Bitcoin when I can buy ETH because I'm going to get a yield on it? So it's an asset that's making money for me by just holding it, and the asset goes up anyway. It's like owning a technology stock with a 6% dividend or something. But eventually they will come down to, if I own Ethereum, I'm going to get a 6% yield. And what does that do for my future retirees? Well, that's a higher yield than junk bonds. It's a higher yield than US treasuries. It's a higher yield than equities. Okay, so now I've got a higher future expected return with a yield. I will probably do this. So what it means is, at the margin, you are bringing in large buyers who are otherwise absent from the industry. This is one of the reasons why gold never became a big part of portfolios. It is for wealthy people, family offices, maybe endowments, but for pension plans and stuff, they're like, it doesn't give me a return to pay my pensioners with. So I always have to hope it goes up. It doesn't give me any wiggle room. Well, now you've got ETH that gives you wiggle room and the ability to go up. Okay, that's very interesting. I don't see why we will not see a flood of people coming into this
Most
space
people that have had a go at getting involved in the crypto space, I would say the majority don't understand staking and what it means. A lot of them kind of heard the terminology. What does it mean?
Well, do you understand what your deposit account at the bank means? You're staking your money to the bank. So you've got a fixed deposit, a 1-year fixed deposit, and you get a bit of extra income for it. You're staking your money to the bank, who then get to use it to lend it to other people. And because it's stable money, because it's there for a year, they will give you a higher return. It is no different.
Really well.
But unlike the bank, they can't pull the rug on you, change anything, go bankrupt on you, because it's algorithmically programmed. So your risk here is Ethereum going up and down, but the yield maintains. So it's really interesting. Now, it doesn't mean ETH can't go down 80%, because it does. It's just done it.
This adoption is astronomically fast and great. And I don't think I can, for the benefit of the audience, I don't think I can try and explain it in a way that demonstrates how big and how quick this mushroom really is growing. Have you got a way of describing it?
The only way... So first, as I've said, I think said last time, this is the fastest adoption of any technology in human history. So people have gone from zero crypto to crypto faster than they went from landlines to mobile phones. And that was pretty quick. There are about 300 million users currently. But it's growing at about 85% a year. And if you do the maths, you get to like 2 billion users in like 3 or 4 years. Because don't forget, 300 million, grow up by, let's make the maths easy, make it 100%. You go from, well, it's actually growing, sorry, it's not 85%, but it's growing 100 and whatever percent. So it goes from 300 million, next year is 600 million. The year after that is 1.2 billion. The year after it's 2.4 billion. Right, so you go from 300 million degens to half the world's population in 7 years. Can you imagine? So if you think what this thing is, it's a share of these networks. If you're one of the 300 million, this is why you need to keep hold of this stuff and stop fucking around with it, is if you are one of the 300 million and you know behind you we've got 4 billion buyers to come.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you sell it?